Hey, how y'all doing out there in YouTube land? This Stiletto coming at you from the Wild Wild West. Got an unboxing for you today. It's a hot one today. Not the smoke wasn't so bad today, but it was real hot. Over 100 degrees. I don't know exactly how hot it was. But we got an unboxing. This one's coming from the Knife Center. KCI is a knife center. Coming from the Knife Center. Do the unboxing is my new Artisan. And I got some things to report on this one because I've been constantly playing with it and stuff like that. And I can tell you what's happened since I've been constantly playing with it. But anyway, let's go ahead and open this up. Yeah, I worked on the blade a little bit, so it's not dull no more. All right. What I got here? Another wine voucher. Now I got $200 worth of wine coming to me. Turn into a wino. All right. What does the invoice say here? Invoice. Artisan Cutlery. S. Waistline 1805G-GYS. Flipper knife. 4.06 S35VN. Satin blade. Gray titanium handles. Alright. And this one cost me $168. But then I had a $10 gift card for the Knife Center, and so it's actually $158. Alright. So let's keep this stuff. Put that over there. And here we go. This is my first titanium Artisan. The first titanium. This one's for Wild Bill. See if I can get it open. There we go. Don't want to mess up the box. And it's there you go. This is coming from the Knife Center. Nice aluminum box or tin box. I don't know what this is made out of. Some kind of metal. It says Artisan Cutlery, high quality precision crafted knife. Ooh, what's this, like a wallet? Now that's pretty cool. Now they're getting serious on this one. The other one had a pouch. Whoa, that's nice. Let me show you everything. And it zips. It's like a wallet. It's about the size of my wallet. This is my wallet. Not too much different, huh? It's like a trucker wallet, sort of. But it's actually a storage pouch for your knife. And they have a, what's this, a card? Specifications. S waistline. I don't know what the S stands for. S waistline. Model 185G. Lock type, frame lock. Blade, steel, S35VN. Blade hardness, 5860 HRC. Handle material, titanium. Structure, in other words, the pivot, that's what they mean by structure, I think. Ceramic ball bearing. It has a cleaning cloth. Well, these people are cool. I like this. I like. To me, this like just shows class. Very cool. They're probably really setting these up for like collectors and people who want to collect them. Perfectly centered. It's not too heavy either. This will actually be a nice EDC knife. Even though, you know, this is going to be probably a collector for me, the titanium ones, when I get those. 'Cause, you know what I mean? I'll use these. I'll use the cheaper ones. But I wanted to see what the titanium ones look like compared to the budget models. This is a $59 knife, and these normally are like a $187 to $200. That's what these normally cost. And I got a really good deal because I took advantage of the Labor Day sales at Knife Center, and Knife Center had this one listed at $168. And then I had a Knife Center gift card that was worth $10, and I used that, so it was $158. You know, I paid that more than that for knives that don't have titanium, and but most of them at that price do have steel like S35EN or equivalent to. Whoa, that's super smooth. Look at the lockup. This is a fairly thick blade too. That blade looks pretty thick. I bet you it's 3.7 millimeters, like the other one was, like this one was. This is 3.7. That is beautiful. That's a beautiful blade. You know that, to me, you know, because I'm a fisherman, this looks like a fishing knife. It looks like a knife I would use for fishing. If this is more like a gentleman's knife. It's safe. Got the flipper. The flipper keeps you safe. I like that. I like the frame lock, and it's got the type of frame lock where it's got the I don't know what you call that, but it's like the piece that you can unbolt and screw in and screw out and replace the piece that rubs up against the blade tang in case it wears down. I like that. These are nice handles. I haven't had a titanium knife in a long time. Well, actually, I've always had titanium knives. I mean, I haven't had a new titanium knife in a long time, because I do have some titanium knives in my collection that are old, you know, like 20 to 30 years old. I have a whole bunch of titanium balisons, and I do have my cold steel. The first one that I bought was a titanium tie-light. It had titanium handles, and it was a liner lock with the folded over liner lock, made in Seiki, Japan. This is nice. It's perfectly even on both sides of the blade. There's no side that it favors, and that's kind of hard to do though with a like a liner lock or a frame type lock, because the liner or the frame is always pushing on the blade. So lots of times they tend to favor the on this knife would be like the non-clip side. It gets pushed over to this side. Wherever the frame lock or the liner lock pushes from, lots of times we'll push the blade to the opposite side. So the blade won't be bent or crooked or anything. It just, lots of times you see knives, especially when they start to get a little bit loose, like liner locks and frame locks, they'll push the blade to one side. You gotta be careful of that too, because it might make it rub if you don't want your blade to get all rubbed up. Actually, I like the pivots, the pivot screws. That looks cool. This is a very classy looking knife. Got a titanium pocket clip. I like it. You know, this would be nice in black. If this was a black knife, it'd be a nice knife to carry. You know, for me, you know how I am. I like black knives for knives I carry. This knife is beautiful. Okay, enough talking about it. Let's get into doing some measurements and weights and see how much it weighs and everything. First off, let me see what we got. We got 0. Okay, there we go. Let's see how much it weighs. 3.7 ounces. I knew it wasn't heavy. And this is a 4-inch blade, people. This a 4.06-inch blade. That's what it was advertised as. And it's super, super, super pointy. This is why I would call it a gentleman's knife. Because, you know, one reason why I got these knives is, you know, I got interested in the artisan knives because people have been asking me about, like, gentleman's knives and things like that. I don't really have any gentleman's knives. All my knives are, like, fighting knives. And then I wanted to get some gentleman's knives, and I was looking around and stuff. And I've been wanting to try out some artisan knives just because I've done the CJRBs, and I sort of want to step up to the next level and see what the next level of Chinese knives are like. Because I love the CJRBs and the budget artisans and stuff, but these aren't like super high-end knives. These are more like user knives, you know, knives that people buy to use and to beat up and to wear out and things like that. You know what I mean? It's a knife that costs under $100. To me, all knives that cost under $100 are what fall in the category what I would call either budget knives or user knives. Knives that I tend to use all the time. Most of the knives I tend to carry lots of times are the ones under $100, especially the ones I'm going to use for like when I'm working in the garage or something like that, working on, you know, motorcycle parts or changing things or whatever. You know, I need to use it as a cutting tool. I won't use one of these knives. I won't even use this knife. I'd use probably like one of my Voyagers. One of my Voyagers or, you know, something like that. Because, I don't know, the Voyager is my favorite user knife. Can I put it that way? It's my favorite knife to use. I carry a large Voyager and an extra large Voyager to work every day. One goes in my fanny pack, the large one does. I think I've shown you guys. And the extra large one goes in my bug out bag that rides in my trunk. I don't physically carry them. They just ride in my car. The one I actually do carry will be like my work knife. And that will be a smaller knife. A smaller, more lightweight knife, easier knife to carry. Most of the knives I call like my work knives are usually like around 3 to 3.5 inches. Sometimes 3 3/4 inches. I try to stay under 4 inches. Because when you get in a 4-inch knife like this, it starts to look like a knife that will scare people if you pull it out in public or do anything like that. And work knives, I like to be knives that I can pull out in public without freaking people out. But I still like them to be as big as I can be, as they can be, and as useful as a defensive weapon as it can be also, without looking like it's going to intimidate somebody or that it's meant to be intimidating. Or to look like, you know, like it's meant for fighting or something. This knife right here, if you ask me, would be easy to carry because it's so slender. I mean, the profile of it is like almost nothing. I mean, this is it doesn't really fit my hand. My hand needs something a little bit bigger. This one's perfect. That's one reason why I like this one as soon as I held it, is because I also like the way the blade sits all the way inside the handle on both sides, so that there's nothing that you're going to touch on the blade. But this handle right here is sort of like a coffin shape. I think it looks cool. And when you hold it, it's a really good grip, you know, because it's got the little cutouts in the front that put your fingers in the right position. And I got one of these in titanium also on the way, and I can't wait to see it. I cannot wait to see it, because I like this one, but you know me, I like things that are a little bit more finished. This is a very cool knife, but it's not like a $200 knife. I would call this a knife that should be in the $50 to $100 range. You know, it'd be a very good knife for that range. But the finish, the fit and finish on it, because a lot of areas, like I could feel like I don't know if it was meant to be like that or if that's the way that they always make their knives, but the liners are what I would call proud to the scales. I mean, when you run across this way, it doesn't feel smooth. You can feel where the handle liner is, and then it meets the handle scale because the handle scale is a little bit larger than the liner. Does that make sense? And that might be the way that they just make their knives. I don't know, but you know, because it's perfectly like that all the way around the knife. It's not like it's got some areas that are different than other areas, except for like the butt end. Well, even on the butt end, you can feel it. But I don't know. I think that's just the way that they make them. Nothing's wrong with that. But I think it would be a lot nicer if everything was flush. Perfectly flush and smooth. You know, maybe it's because I'm used to U.S. knives, and knives made in the United States, that these areas would have been totally flush. If it was made by a good cutlery company, it'd be totally flush and totally smooth, where you can't really tell the difference where the liner starts and the handle scale starts. Other than that, though, this handle is beautiful. I love the contouring of the handle. It's like well, I guess it is CNC machine. That's what's said on the box. And I can see how it's CNC machine, because this is a really nice filling handle. The only thing I would do on this one was just smooth it out, make it smoother. Also on this one, when you fidget with it a lot, like I have been, and I've been doing the pulling out my pocket and stuff like that, and this one pocket snags like perfectly every time. So everybody that likes knives that pocket snag, this one does it perfectly every time. And you can see why it does it, because of the way the quillons are, and it's got this cutout. All you gotta do is just pull it out really fast, and it comes out. I mean, this one really pocket snags super well. It's way better than a Tie-Lite. It's way better than any of the cold steel knives that I've used. It just pocket snags perfectly. Now, that's my experience with it. I don't know what your experience will be with it. I think if you like, you can see where it's starting to wear out the finish. Right there, that's where pocket snag's at. So I've been using it as a pocket snag knife. Because this is like a PVD finish. It's a good finish. It takes a little while to wear off the finish. And I've been constantly fidgeting with this knife and everything else like that. I fidgeted with it so much last night while I was watching movies, and it was like dark and everything like that. When I was watching movies, I wasn't paying attention. I just kept playing with it. And I think this pivot came loose, because it got a little bit of rub mark right here and right here on the blade. I don't know if you can see that, where it rubbed off the finish a little bit, because the blade got loose, and this liner, it pushed the blade over to this side of the handle, the opposite side of the handle, and that's where it rubbed at, right in here. And it rubbed against the liner. I can't see any damage to the liner. Only can see it. It's very slight. It's like, I'm finicky about stuff, and I can see it. It doesn't bother me though, because it's not that obvious. It's not that big of a deal. But anyway, I took apart the pivot, and cleaned it all up, cleaned up the threads and everything on the pivot screw. And I put some blue Loctite on it and put it back together and let it dry out, and adjusted it back to center. And so far, it's been holding up just fine. But that's the only thing that you guys might want to do. If you guys get one of these, you might want to Loctite the pivot screw. It had like a white Loctite on it, or some kind of Loctite it was, I guess. But whatever it was probably not strong enough. It didn't hold the pivot screw. And that's a common problem on knives that I get all the time. The pivots come loose. There's only a couple of knives I've ever gotten that the pivots don't come loose, and that's like my Spydercos, the compression lock Spydercos I have, the amalgam and the Tropin and the Sliverax. The pivot screws never came loose on those, and I've been using the Sliverax and the amalgam, I don't know, a lot. I take them to work a lot. And I use them all the time, and I play with them all the time and stuff like that. And I've never had to adjust them. All you gotta do is just blow them out. And I have stropped them, but I've never, have had to resharpen them or anything. So, as far as like the quality of those knives is concerned, those are made in the Taichung factory in Taiwan. That factory must make really good knives, because just about every other knife I ever have always comes loose. Because, I don't know, when you pivot with it, when you play with them all the time, and play with them or train with them or fidget with them, whatever you want to call it, when you mess with them all the time, like I do, constantly, they will come loose. And I don't know what Spyderco does, but I don't know if they maybe they Loctite their knives from the factory or something. I don't know, or use some stronger Loctite. Maybe that's it. Because you can put stronger Loctite on these, and the pivot will not come loose, like a red Loctite. But the problem with that is it's hard to pull maintenance on them, because what Loctite is like glue, and the red Loctite is like a permanent glue. And the only way you can really get it loose is you got to heat it up by using a heat gun or something like that, and then it melts, and then it'll loosen up. But you got to be careful with red Loctite. I don't like using red Loctite. I like to use the blue Loctite because that will keep something from coming loose, but it would also allow you to be able to take it back apart again, because it won't be so sticky that, like the red Loctite, that you can't easily take it back apart again. So if I was you guys, when you use Loctite on knives, always use blue Loctite. Don't never use red Loctite. Should never be that serious where you have to use some red Loctite. Although I have used red Loctite in my the ones I like to carry, the CRKT deadbolts, the Clever Girl, and the Seismic, and the Trask, and the Linchpin, the ones I've carried, because always those pivot screws come loose, and even with blue Loctite they will still come loose. And so I put just a touch of red Loctite in there, and put it together and let it dry out for a day or so. I've never had them come loose again. But just to let you guys know, that's what this is all about, right? Let you guys know what's up with these things when you use them. But this one, I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. This one satisfies my switchblade fetish. I live in a state where you can't carry a switchblade. This is close to, it looks like a switchblade and everything. I should probably shut up now. But that satisfies that fetish. I absolutely love these. Absolutely love it. But like I said, though, this is like a working class knife. It's not like a high end knife. I would call it like a mid range. It's like mid. It's not cheap. It's not cheap or low budget. But I would call it like a mid budget type knife. I put it on that level. And that, to me, mid budget I guess would be like $50 to $100. And super low budget would be like under. Or super low budget costs, or super inexpensive, I should say. Not really low budget, but super inexpensive would be like under $50. Actually, probably like under $30 or something. That'd be super inexpensive. And this one's $60, $59. Got it on eBay from United Outdoors. And I think it's worth $59. I think it's worth that all day long. 3.7 millimeter bag. Okay, we're getting away from what we're supposed to be talking about, huh? Getting sidetracked here. I absolutely love this one. I'm digging it. You're right again, Wild Bill. These are nice. These are nice. And if I had this one in black, I'd probably carry it. But this, I could tell there'd be a lot of shiny stuff sticking out of your pocket. Because, from here up, it's going to be what people will see besides the pocket clip. So they'll see all that. And that looks like a handle of a knife to me. And it doesn't look like a pin or something like that. That's one thing people usually like about their, they call it the gentleman's knife or the CEO knives or whatever. They want it to be sort of like thin, like a thick pin or something. The pocket clip looks really nice though. I really like the way the pocket clip looks. Titanium pocket clip. And I could tell if this is an all black knife, it'd be perfect. It doesn't even have to be all black, just maybe just the handle and the pocket clip. That'd be enough black. I bet you this part would still be shiny though. Okay. It's got the open back. And it's not flexy at all. You always got to check for flexiness. And it's right side or left side pocket clip. The pocket clip fits into the handle. There's a section that's machined out for the pocket clip. I love these pivots on these. You got the stationary pivot on one side, and then you got the adjustable side. I guess the original ones had patterns like this on both sides. And I'm glad I don't have one of those, because I like it like this the best. This way I'd want it. Nice thick blade. Let's see how thick the blade is. Oh, wait a minute, I got to zero out. Okay. 4mm. 4.00. Exactly. 3.96. 3.99. 3.49. 2.52. And we're at the tip now. 0.67 at the tip. I like it. It's a 4mm blade. Let me see what the markings say. I can see S35VN. Looks like it has a... I can't tell what it says. Hold on for a sec. I gotta get the magnifying glass. Can't tell what it says. Let's get some paper too to see how sharp it is. It looks like it should be sharp. If I was to bet money on it right now before we try it, knowing this one wasn't sharp, I would bet that this one's gonna be sharp. Wild Bill told me that the waistlines are sharp. His waistline, when he got it, it was sharp. That's what Wild Bill told me. So everything Wild Bill tells me is usually is spot on. So he always knows what he's talking about. So it says serial number 1805G S35EN, and it says China on the blade tang part of the blade. And then this side has the Artisan Cutlery trademark or insignia or whatever you want to call it. All right, let's see how sharp it is. Let's see how sharp it is. Turn this off. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah. Now that one's sharp. That was super sharp because I wasn't even feeling the paper cutting. Every part of this blade is super sharp. This one is a razor. This is sharper than most cold steels I've gotten. This is like really sharp. Look at that. I love it. I love it. This is what I expect from Artisan. Okay, I take back everything I said when I was talking about the Hornet. I think the Hornet's like the way it is because after sharpening it, I found that the tip of it, like this part forward is real thick at the edge. And I think that's the issue with the Hornet. So, but you know, I think the Hornet was really meant to be a poker. I don't think it was really meant to be a slicer. So that's okay. Look at that. This is super sharp. This is one of the sharpest knives I've ever received. That is super sharp. Okay. Okay, people. Artisan Cutlery does know how to sharpen knives. I take back everything I said on my last video. They do know how to sharpen a knife. And the edge looks perfect. The edge looks perfect on both sides. The angles and everything. I like this one. I might have to get a black one. I do have a budget one on the way because I wanted to compare the two. And when that one gets here, then we'll do a video with this one with it. Now this one feels like a very high-end knife. It looks like a very high-end knife. The way it's constructed. It's got ball bearings. Let me see if I can see what kind of ball bearings it has. Let's see if we can see in there. Oh, see, like this one has ball bearings encased and looks like bronze phosphor cages. So the ceramic ball bearings on this one are in like a bronze phosphor cage. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I can see the bronze phosphor, and I know it has ceramic ball bearings. And so these one are a little bit different. This one, it looks like they're in some sort of nylon cage, like a plastic cage. So these ball bearings, I would say, probably aren't as... Let me see if I'm trying to show you guys. Probably aren't as good as the other ones. But it works perfectly smooth. Works perfectly smooth. But this one is on another level compared to this one. So I would expect all of the titanium ones to be a lot nicer than the G10 versions. The G10 or the carbon fiber versions. If you want one of the best artisan knives for a waistline, get the titanium one. They're not cheap. They're not cheap, but they're cheaper than most knives are, you know, that are really nice. And that really nice that don't even have titanium. You know, have the same type of steel. But this is a 4mm blade though. This is not a little thin blade like a Benchmade knife or something. This is a real thick blade. 4mm thick is what I would call thick for a pocket knife. Most of the thick cold steels like the Tau Wars and the Espadas and all the XL knives, most of them have 4mm blades. And this one has a 4mm blade. And it's S35N, it's not a cheap steel. I think it was Love Them Knives that tested all the steels for the artisans, and they all turned out to be legit. This is a beautiful knife. Absolutely love this one. This is my first frame locking one. Well, no, I got the, what's the name? The Kershaw. Bare Knuckle, I love that name, Bare Knuckle. This feels good in hand though. And with the way it's milled, with the design, it's supposed to look like a building in China. You know, like when they're real tall buildings, a real beautiful building, and it's shaped just like this. And these are supposed to be like the windows, I guess, or whatever, like the structure of the building. The pattern is, and it's beautiful. I love this knife. It's perfectly centered, and it flies. It's a nice one. It's a nice one. I like it, people. The titaniums rock. Absolutely love the Artisan titaniums. This is a nice knife. This is what I would call a gentleman's folder. So now I officially have a gentleman's folder. I know it looks like the jumbones and the crossbones and the quake and the Kraken. Is that right? There's a few knives that it looks like, but you know what? There's a lot of knives with this shape. There's a lot of knives that have like the gentleman's knife shape, and there's lots of knives that have like this upswept sort of like Japanese tanto types, old-fashioned Japanese tanto type shaped blade. So you can't say this is copying jumbones and crossbones, because there was knives like the jumbones and the crossbones before those existed. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just a common shape for knives, just like a Italian stiletto type shape, or a buck knife shape. There's lots of knives that look like that, made by different companies. Or knives like this too. You know what I mean? There's lots of knives that look like daggers or dirks. I absolutely love this. And I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I like it. The weight of it is awesome. This is so it's handle heavy. So far, this knife's handle heavy too. But you can sort of expect that because it's got thick steel liners, and I don't know what this is made of. This might be steel too. I'm not sure if that's aluminum or steel. And it's got the G10 scales on it are fairly thick too. And then the blade is a almost touched the edge. The blade is a 3.7 millimeter blade, so that's a thick blade. It's not quite 4 millimeters, but it is thick. It's thicker than most blades. That's the 4 millimeter. This would be a great defense weapon. That's what I think. The grip on it is really good. It feels like a cold steel G10 grip, or like a Voyager grip. I mean, it's really grippy, and it's titanium. I never could imagine that titanium could be grippy like this. But I guess it's just a pattern that you put in the metal. And this pattern is very grippy. Grippy like, grippy like cold steel G10 type grippy. Grippy like it might be a pocket shredder. I really like this one. I dig it. It looks fairly strong too, because this titanium is pretty. The liner looks the same all the way to the blade tang. So it looks fairly strong. The only thin spot is this part right here. Like, that's the part that has to be thin so it could flex, I guess. But I like the way both sides look the same too. Because a lot of frame locks, the frame lock side looks totally different from the show side. Is that what we call it? The frame lock side and the show side? On this one, the frame lock side and the show side look, they match. And I like that. I like that. I can't wait to see my other ones. I got a couple more titanium knives coming. Because I got a shark and a hornet coming. A little clue. This is the only one with S35V in that the titanium knives I got. This is the only one that has S35V in. So what other steels did I get on the other two knives? Because I want to show you guys something different about each one of them. That is beautiful. They're the same size, pretty much. Now this one edges it over just a little bit. How long was this blade? I thought it was only 3 3/4, because I know this was over 4 inches. Let's measure them. Somebody's lying. Because they almost look the same. Okay, that one is a little bit over 4 inches. It's really a 4-inch blade. It says 4.06. So it's just like the only part that's over the 4 mark is just a little bit at the point. So I'd really just call it a strong 4-inch knife. And this one's really 3 3/4. Okay. So a 1/4 inch isn't all that much. That's what it is. The difference between a 3 3/4 inch blade and a 4-inch blade really ain't all that much. That means that if I was you guys, I would get if you live in an area like I do where they want you to carry 4 inches or smaller, I'd carry this one over this one, because this one is definitely under, it's definitely a legal knife to carry where I live. Even though I know they would confiscate it because it looks like a switchblade or a dagger or something like that. It looks like it's meant for stabbing people. Let's be blunt. I said it. I said it. I said it. I know I said it. It doesn't look like it's meant to be a utility tool. It doesn't even look like it's meant to be a gentleman's knife. It looks like it's meant to be an assassin's knife. You know what I mean? This looks like something that an assassin would carry. Somebody would sneak up from behind you and shank you like, 30, 40 times. Or cut your throat or something. This looks like it's meant for sinister task. But I love it. I love it. I love the way it looks. I love it. I love that. It sort of has like a gothic look, like should belong to a vampire or something. I don't know. It's sinister. It's very dark. It's a very dark looking knife. I absolutely love it though, and it's fun to play with. And yes, it has drawn blood from me so far. I don't know if you can see this. See that cut right there, my knuckle? How that happened is I had on a pair of gloves, and I was trying to test and see if I could fold the knife in on my hand. And guess what? I folded the knife in on my hand. Because what happened is I put a whole lot of pressure on this. Probably more pressure. I don't know, like if you're in a fighting situation though, and the back of it gets hit really hard, from, you swinging around or whatever, and something unexpected happens and the back of the blade gets hit, and it folds in. See, what happens on this one is that your finger slides off of this right here. Your finger will slide off when it comes in, and it slides off, and bam, and it cuts through the glove and everything. So yes, like Doug Makeda would say, it will cut. It will cut. And that happened for me just testing it. I had it already unlocked. It didn't come unlocked. I had it unlocked, like you guys see me do with other knives. And I was pushing on the thing because I was just curious about the way that this is shaped. And I was right in my thought. So ones like this, even though they're flippers, I wouldn't say this is an all the way safe knife. I always try to tell you guys what's safe and what's not safe, but I still love this knife. And I also tried my Cold Steel Tie Light 6. It does the same thing. So even though I know all of us love these stilettos and stuff like that, I don't know if they're super safe. This one is shaped differently. So let's see. I'm not going to push super hard, but this one already I can tell it's cupping my finger. It cups your finger right here, so it's not going to slide off. And I can see how the tip digs into my finger. So I don't think this one has the same issue as this one. And this one doesn't really have a whole lot there to grab onto your finger. For light duty stuff though, it's perfectly fine. You know what I mean? Because if it's just barely pushing up against your finger, it's not going to come. I mean, if it's just like, I don't know, maybe got like 10 pounds worth of pressure or something like that, 10 to 20 pounds worth of pressure, it's not going to fold in on your hand. I think it's when you go higher than that, like let's say if you banged it against something, like if you're holding it and you banged it against something like that, and the lock was to fail. But this one has really good lockup too though, so I don't know if it would fail real easy. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's all the way on the blade tang. And at first, when I first got it, it was like barely touching the blade tang. Now it's all the way on the blade tang, and it's like, I don't know if you guys, I want you guys to see it. Let me see if I can. I know it's hard to see with the black finishes and stuff, it's hard to see. But this one's all the way on the blade tang now. And so, I would say that's probably broken in. To the point where it's broken in. And like I tell you guys, I fidget a lot. And I remember back in the day, why I stopped fidgeting so much with liner locks, because I used to always wear them out. And what I mean by wear them out is that I fidget with them so much that I'd wear out the liner part of the liner lock, where the blade tang and the actual liner, the leaf spring part of the liner, touch and meet and have contact and keep the blade from having up and down movement. After a while, I would wear out because usually the liner is softer than the blade steel. Because usually the liner would be like a 400 to about 420 grade of stainless steel, and the blade was always harder than that, and it always wear out the liner where it has contact with the blade tang. And you get a little bit of up and down. I think they call it lock rock or whatever. You get up and down blade play, and that's what always happens. That's one thing that always turned me off about liner locks after a while, because I'd always wear them out, and you know, for me fidgeting with them and playing with them and stuff like that, and it just wasn't the best lock for me. And then when the cold steel locks came out with that triad lock, I couldn't wear one of those out. I've never worn out a triad lock. Triad locks, like they wear with you. They're really good locks. But the only thing bad about it, it's not the best lock for fidgeting. But you know, believe me, they don't wear out. They don't really wear out. If you wear out a triad lock, you're doing something totally strange and weird. Something out of the normal. But I absolutely love this one. And I absolutely love this one too. So Artisan Knives is rocking. They're rocking with me so far. And this knife is really perfect. I mean, the build quality of it's perfect. The centering of it's perfect. It's an absolutely perfect knife. The edge is perfect. This is one of the sharpest knives I've ever received. This knife is super sharp. I couldn't make it sharper than this. This knife is sharp. So he did an excellent job putting an edge on this one. And for me, this will probably be a collector. I'm not going to carry this one. But I might carry the shark that's coming. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. The shark was the one that I sort of planned on carrying, because I only got a couple of these and a couple of these, and then I got several sharks. Yeah, more than one shark. More than two sharks. Because the shark looked like a knife to me. It looked like a knife that has a whole lot of purpose in it. You know, like you could use it for like a steak knife. You could use it for a self-defense knife. You could use it for a utility knife. I mean, a letter opener. It looks like it'd do everything. And it looked like it had a fairly good, decent grip too. Lots of times I like straight grips, because they not only they conceal easily, but they're good in every grip angle. And they're also good as cubitons too. Cubitons, grab somebody by the wrist, use it as a cubiton. Pressure points. Absolutely love this. Absolutely love it. Well, let me end this one now. We're just rattling on. But all I got to say is Artisan's doing it. These are my first experiences with Artisan that you guys are witnessing. And I feel like these are like awesome knives. And like I said, I'm not really a liner lock or frame lock person. But both of these are knives I would carry. I haven't carried this one to work because it looks too, you know, it doesn't look like a work knife. Let me just put it that way. But it will go with me on the motorcycle when I'm off work. It does look like a motorcycle knife to me. And I like this one. I don't wear slacks and things like that. And, you know, I'm not the CEO type, but if I was, I would carry this. This looks awesome. That's awesome. That's about it for today, y'all. Like this S35VN. This one's D2. Titanium G10. Contract G10. CNC machine G10. Beautiful knives. Liner lock, frame lock. Very cool. Both nice thick blades. Both of them extremely pointy. This is the sharp one though. Alright. Peace out. Hope everybody's doing good out there. Stay safe.